Hi everyone, I'm Hannah. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we are practicing yoga for core strength. So we're going to go right ahead and get started, lying down on our back to begin. So get comfortable on your mat or whatever space it is you're practicing in. And ideally, if we can, we're going to lie back in our Shavasana, our corpse pose position. So the relaxation position that we often take at the very end of our yoga practice. So we're going to start here. And if it's comfortable closing the eyes, then I will suggest that you do that. If you'd prefer, you can keep them open, but just soften your gaze and just take these first few moments just to check in. So just feel the back of the body against the ground. Maybe allow a few breaths just to let the body really soften. Just notice if you're holding on to any tension that maybe you can give yourself permission to let go of. And then bringing your attention to your breath. Just observe what your breath is doing, if possible, without changing your breath. So just notice your inhale and your exhale, and don't worry if your breath isn't even or if it's not deep. Just whatever the breath is doing is okay. So just pay attention to it. And then finally, just take a few moments to check in with what's happening for you inside your mind right now in this moment. And again, don't worry if you don't feel really peaceful or calm. Often when we are not feeling peaceful and we're feeling angry or frustrated or sad, or just uncomfortable, those are often the times that we come to do yoga. So whatever you're experiencing, see if you can just accept that. Be okay with that. And then when you're ready to just gently guide your awareness back to your breath. And on our next inhale, let's take a slightly deeper breath in. Slightly deeper breath out through the nose or through the mouth. And just see if you can let the back body relax a little bit more. Let's just take a few more deep breaths like that. Inhaling, can we start to feel the belly rise? Exhaling, the belly gently falls and the body softens. All right, so we're staying just as we are for another few moments. And if you haven't already, start to guide your breath in and out through the nose only. And seeing if we can start to maybe even out our inhale and exhale breath now. So making sure the breath is comfortable, but seeing if we can start to maybe lengthen or draw out the breath, matching the inhale and the exhale in length, or as close as we can get. Seeing if with every breath out, the shoulders can soften. The lower back can relax, the legs and the arms and the head can be heavy. And seeing if we can just let ourselves really arrive here, just in the present moment. And so there's no rush, but when you're ready to, I'd like you to slowly start to reach your arms overhead. And if it feels good, maybe just take a long stretch out of the body. We're going to begin with Banana-san, one of my favorite postures. So we're going to stay lying down. And all I'd like you to do is just bring the feet together And then shift your hips over just to the right side of your mat. They might not go very far, it might just be an inch or so. So your hips are going to just be a little bit off center. And then keeping your hips off center, just walk your feet towards the left corner of your mat. Just get as far as it feels needed. And then take your arms and your head and shoulders towards the top left-hand corner of the mat. So we're making this banana-like shape, and it's up to you how far you go into this. For some of you, you might get quite a curve in your banana shape. For others, it might be quite slight. So just check in with your body. We want to feel a nice stretch moving through the side of the body, and make sure that the hips are flat. Sometimes when we move into this shape, we tend to roll up onto that left hip. So make sure that you're pressing the sacrum down into the ground, and both shoulder blades should be on the floor too. Just take another couple of breaths here. When you finish your next exhale breath, we'll slowly just start coming back to center. So just walk the arms, the shoulder, the head, the feet, and then we're just going to pick the hips up, and we'll shift them over to the other side of the mat. So the hips are going towards the left side of the mat, and this time the feet are going to walk towards the right corner. And the hands and arms and head are just crawling, walking towards that right corner too. And then pressing down through the back of the sacrum, pressing down through both shoulder blades. You can close the eyes here if you want to. Take a couple of deep breaths. Again, really focusing on the breath, reaching the belly. Maybe just notice if you're holding onto tension where you don't need to be, especially around the hips, the shoulders. Really see if you can soften into this shape. Beautiful. One last breath here. Whenever you finish your next exhale, let's just slowly start walking the hands, shoulders, head back into center. Feet come back in. Realign the hips. You may need to lift your head and just check. Sometimes we think we're in a straight line, but we're actually not. And then as you come to lie flat once again, just give the shoulders a little bit of a shake out. I want you to bend the knees in, feet flat on the ground, and just take a moment to really start to bring your attention to that lower abdominal area. We're going to start to just switch on our core muscles now. So I'd like you to think about your belly button pressing in towards your spine. So hug the belly button into the spine. And as you do this, I want you to also think about the belly button and the top of the pubic bone drawing in towards one another. So we have this contraction or this motion of belly button pressing into spine, and then belly button and top of the pubic bone moving in towards each other, this dual motion. And as we take this movement, there's also a contraction of the pelvic floor muscle. So you should feel your pelvic floor muscles engage inwards and upwards as you contract your lower abdominal muscles. Now, when you do all of this, the position of the spine shouldn't actually change. So if you just relax that contraction you're taking at the moment, and you do it again, just notice if when you pull your belly button into your spine, you end up flattening your lower back down on the ground. We don't want to do that. We want to keep the spine in a neutral position. So hug the belly button into the spine, hug the belly button towards the top of the pubic bone, engage the pelvic floor muscles, feel this really strong lower abdominal contraction. Make sure you're still breathing, okay? Beautiful. Keeping this engaged, let's draw our right knee in towards our chest, and we're going to extend our left leg down, flex the foot, and just rest it on the ground. Now, option one is keep the body as it is now. Keep the head on the ground, and this left leg, the heel and the back of the leg is touching the floor. Okay, we're going to start moving with the breath and just changing the legs over. So this is option one. With each breath, you're going to release the leg that's hugging into the chest. Keep that center strong and switch, placing that leg down. If you want a little bit more intensity, you can lift the head and shoulders off the ground as you switch the legs. Make sure you're breathing in and out. And again, it's not a big movement, it's just enough to really engage that core a little bit more. If you need more intensity, then you can choose to keep the leg that's straightening, lengthening out. It doesn't actually have to touch the ground. You can keep it hovering just above your mat if you'd prefer. So those are your options, okay? Whichever option you're working with, check that you're still breathing. Inhaling as the leg comes towards you. Exhale as we change.
Breath in and out through the nose. Just a few more rounds. We just want to really wake up those lower abdominal muscles, engage that core. So make sure that if you're feeling tension in the lower back or in the neck, ease off, maybe stop a little bit earlier than you need to, or than I do. And just, respect your body, listen to your body. Remember, we're trying to strengthen our core. We don't want to overwork the back muscles or the neck. So always working with our body and where it needs to be. Beautiful. Last time. Okay, when you're ready, carefully lower the head, lower the leg, release the knee. Take a nice long stretch out of the body. Beautiful. Bend the knees in. Nice and slowly, we're going to roll over onto one side and make our way up into our all fours position. And do come up slowly. There's no need to rush as we move up from the ground. For those of you that have sensitive knees, or maybe you're just on a really hard surface, if you have something nearby like a towel, a cushion, a blanket, anything at all that you have, just a pad under your knees, feel free to use that. So as we come into our all fours, hands are under shoulders, knees are under hips. And take a moment when you arrive here to really feel your foundation. So spread the fingers, engage through the base knuckles. Get your weight even between your hands and your lower legs. And then engage those lower abdominal muscles. Just like we were doing on our back a few moments ago, try to make sure that we don't collapse our lower back here. So hug the belly button into the spine, hug the belly button towards the top of the pubic bone. Beautiful, length happening through the spine. Okay, when you're ready, tuck your toes. Squeeze your thighs together as if you're holding something in between them. Engage your pelvic floor muscles. Keep breathing. And option one is just stay here. If this feels very intense, stay in this position, knees down, but legs and lower abdominal muscles active. If you want more intensity, press into the balls of the feet. Hover your knees a few inches above the ground. Wherever you are, find your breath. In and out through the nose. Keep finding that length through the spine while maintaining that lower abdominal contraction. Remember, we want to micro bend in our elbows, so really think about trying not to lock out through those elbow joints. Very, very slight softening through the elbows. Good. Last couple of breaths. If you have those knees lifted, slowly lower them down. Let's all find a child's pose for a couple of breaths. Okay, when you feel ready to just carefully walk the hands in, come to sit up on the knees, or you can swap out onto your sitting bones if sitting on the knees is uncomfortable. Just for a moment, bring the fingers behind the back, interlace the fingers, and just draw the knuckles down towards the ground, just allowing the chest to open. Maybe the head looks up ever so slightly. A couple of breaths here. Beautiful. And let's reverse this shape. Bring the hands around in front. Again, interlace the fingers, but this time push the palms away, hug the belly and tuck the chin and push the upper back away behind you. Beautiful. Slowly release. If your wrists feel a little bit sore, just give them a little bit of a shake. Maybe just do some wrist circles for a moment. And just to really get the fluid in the wrist joints moving. And as you kind of get that fluid moving, it's just going to help to lubricate the joints, which is what we want. Okay, we're going to come back up onto the hands into our high plank position. So if you want to keep your knees down, that's also an option, okay? So option one is keep the knees down, and you can shift your body weight as far forwards as you need to feel a contraction through the lower abdominal area. Remember, we don't want to feel this in our lower back. Option two, if you need more intensity, is come up onto the balls of the feet. Again, head, shoulders, hips nice and high. Engage your center, belly button into spine, belly button towards top of the pubic bone. Check your breathing, in and out through the nose. Ground down through the hands. Micro bend through the elbows. Find your breath. Engaging our core. Beautiful. Last couple of breaths here. Now, when you're ready, lower the knees. Just take a couple of breaths in a child's pose once again. Fantastic. Let's come back last time. Coming back to weight bear on these hands, and this time we're coming up into our downward facing dog. So if this is your first downward dog of the day, then you might find that it's nice maybe just to walk out through the feet for a moment, maybe give the head a little bit of a shake. Any little movements at all that just kind of help you, ease into your body. Again, noticing what your breath is doing. And making sure, even in our downward dog, that we still are contracting those lower abdominal muscles. So it's really important in our downward dog that we don't collapse our lower back. So we should be hugging the belly button into the spine and pulling the belly button towards the top of the pubic bone at all times that we're in downward dog. That's something we always want to be doing. I think sometimes in yoga, we almost don't realize how much we should be using our core muscles in most of our postures. Okay, so very, very slowly, just walk your hands back towards your feet just for a moment. You can grab hold of opposite elbows here just to give the wrists a little bit of a break. Knees can be straight or bent. Give the head a bit of a shake and just relax here for a moment. And then when you're ready, soften the knees if you need to. Bring the hands down, walk forwards. Come back into that downward dog. Re-engage those core muscles. Okay, beautiful. I'd like you to gently come back to your high plank. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, bring your right knee towards your nose. Hug your core muscles in. Beautiful. Inhale. Extend the leg out behind you. Keep it hovering if you can. If you need to touch down, that's okay. Exhale once again, knee to nose. Inhale, extend. Last time, exhale, knee to nose. Beautiful. Inhale, extend. Exhale, touch the foot down. Push the hips back up. Downward facing dog. If you'd rather take a child's pose at this point, that is, of course, absolutely fine. Okay, let's get ready for the other side. Finding that high plank position once again. As you inhale, float the left leg up off the mat. Exhale, contract, knee to nose. Hug the core muscles in. Inhale, extend. 2 more times. Exhale, contract. Inhale, extend. Exhale, contract. Inhale, extend. Beautiful. Touch the foot down. Hips either back up to the sky or coming to your child's pose. And when we feel ready, we're all slowly coming to meet in a lunge. We're going to bring our left foot forwards first today. Okay, so again, if you want padding underneath that right knee, please feel free to have it. We want all 4 corners of our left foot to be grounded on our mat. And once we feel stable with that solid foundation, we're going to bring the hands up onto that left knee or thigh. And option 1 is keep your hands here. Okay. What I want you to do is squeeze your thighs together as if you're holding something in between them. Press down through all 4 corners of your left foot without letting your toes clench. And then feel as though your tailbone is really heavy. So imagine that you have this almost anchor drawing you down, lengthening the spine down towards the earth. Okay, now as you feel this sense of heaviness through the base of the spine, lift up to the top of the head. And now hug your belly button into your spine. Engage your lower core muscles. And really just feel your center doing a lot of the work in terms of keeping you stable and connected in this posture. Okay, beautiful. If this feels enough, stay here for these last few breaths. If you want to challenge yourself a little bit more, you have the option of tucking your back toes under and maybe lifting that back knee. Be very mindful of your knee if you come up. And same thing, if you are lifting that knee and just coming up to a higher version of this lunge, we're doing all the same things. Find your foundation, squeeze the thighs together, make sure those front toes aren't clenching, but use your core, really pay attention. What is your core doing to actually support you in this posture? Beautiful. If you have that right knee or that back knee lifted, let's slowly touch it down. We're going to come through our all fours to change sides. If you need to give your hips a little bit of a wiggle or a shake here, you can move around for a few moments. And then when you feel ready to, let's bring the right foot forwards. Okay, and take your time. Yeah, pat up that left knee if you need to. Find your stability. Find your breath.
Make sure those right toes aren't clenching. We do want to really press down through all four corners of the right feet. And then engage those core muscles. Belly button into spine. Belly button and top of the pubic bone moving in towards each other. Pelvic floor muscles engaged, pulling inwards and upwards. If this feels enough, stay here. If you want more, very, very carefully, be mindful of your knee, tuck the back toes. Come to a slightly higher lunge. Whichever lunge you're in, squeeze the thighs together. Lengthen up through the top of the head. Be heavy through the tailbone. Center strong, foundation strong. And the top of your head should feel really light. Should feel really nice up there. So kind of bottom half, from the mid down to the bottom half of the body, should be doing the majority of the work here. Beautiful. Last breath or so. Slowly come down when we're ready. Let's come back through all fours and just give those hips a little bit of a wiggle or a shake out. Beautiful. And let's find our way down onto our seat for a bit of a twist. So let's take both legs out in front of us today. And let's start with our left leg. We're going to bend the left knee in. And you can just keep it inside that right leg if that's comfortable, or you can cross it over. And we're going to take a very gentle twist. So I'd like you to hug yourself in towards that left knee or thigh. Find the length in the spine. Try to keep your right foot active as well. And then just slowly hug your belly button in towards your left thigh. And you can adjust your arms as you move. Maybe that left hand comes to rest on the ground behind you. Just taking a few breaths here. Remember, when we twist, we want to maintain that length through the spine. So keep drawing up through the crown of the head. Keep the chin parallel to the floor. Draw down through the sitting bones. And remember, even in our twist, we're still engaging our core muscles. So keep hugging the belly button in towards the spine. It creates more room for you to actually twist. Okay, good. Slowly, slowly unwind. Come back to center. Let's change sides. Release that left leg. Draw the right knee in. You can keep it inside the left foot or you can cross it over. Left leg and foot is active. Sit up tall. Create space in the spine. And then when you're ready, slowly start to twist, remembering that we twist from the base of the spine upwards. Okay, so let your lower spine initiate the twist, and then the upper spine just follows to as far as it feels comfortable. Finding the breath. Beautiful. Slowly unraveling when you're ready. No rush. Just gently release the legs. Give the legs a little bit of a shake out. And then scoot yourself forwards on your mat so that you have space behind you so that you can roll down onto your back. And because we're doing yoga for core strength specifically today, we're all going to roll down vertebrae by vertebrae. So plant the feet firmly on your mat like you would in your lunge, all four corners, really grounding down. Reach the arms out in front, hug the belly into the spine, and we're slowly going to round out through the back, lowering down vertebrae by vertebrae. So take your time, take as much time as you like, or as much time as you're able to. Don't worry if you actually end up down there very quickly. And as you come all the way down, just take a nice long stretch out of the body. Beautiful. We've got one last exercise to do before we take our final relaxation, our Shavasana. This is one of my favorite exercises to do for core strength. Scissor kicks. Okay, so I would like you to extend your right leg up towards the ceiling or the sky. And if your hamstrings are very tight, you can actually place your hands on the back of your hamstring. That's absolutely fine. Don't worry if your legs aren't straight, but if you can straighten them, work with straight legs. Option one is keep your head and shoulders down on the mat so the spine stays in alignment. And we're going to be scissoring the legs. So your left leg can be on the ground, or you can choose to hover it just above so the leg doesn't come down to the ground at all. Head and shoulders can lift if that feels good. If it doesn't, they can stay down. And with each breath this time, we're going to be scissoring the legs. Okay, so with each inhale, one leg comes towards you, the other reaches away. With each exhale, we change. So remember, as you do these, hug the belly button into the spine. Draw the belly button towards the top of the pubic bone. And every time you pull one leg towards you, if it feels good, you can give the hamstring a little bit of a stretch, gentle stretch. Beautiful. Let's do 10 more of these. Make sure you're breathing in and out through the nose. 8, 7,
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. And let's relax. Nice long stretch out along the ground. And let's let the feet open out towards the bottom corners of the mat. Palms lying face upwards and just a little bit away from the body so that our shoulder and chest muscles can really relax. Either letting the eyes close or just softening the gaze. Let's just bring our attention back to the breath and just let the breath be natural at this point. We can let go of deepening the breath now. Let the breath be natural. Let the body be soft. And then whatever is happening in the mind, again, simply check in, just acknowledge. And see if we can once again just allow ourselves to really be present in this moment, really just arriving here in the now, without expectation, without judgment.